I tell you what, I went to Carter Grammar School with Melvin. We were in the same class. I went to grammar school, high school, and college with Lorraine Hansberry. Okay? And we went to Inglewood. And the time I was in Inglewood, James Foreman was there. Michelle Nichols, whose name was Grace at the time, and Oscar Brown Jr. Ain't that a hell of a lineup? Look,
I'm sorry.
Let me say this one thing.
Go ahead.
The South Side ghetto of Chicago is incredible. Incredible. The kind of fantastic people we've produced, the economic structure that we produced, because most of the people who settled here, including my family, came from the Deep South. And unlike the border state black people, white folks didn't do nothing for them. So they came here with skills that they had to have. The black population of Chicago is 44.1%. The white population is 44.1%. We are incredible people, you know? I wouldn't want to grow up anywhere except on the south side of Chicago.
Mr. Lemieux, as a cast member and working on this film, from what I've been told, you say yourself that you weren't really acting.
No, I wasn't acting at all. I was a member of the Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party. I was on somewhat hiatus from the party at that time. When I met Sam. I was working in a restaurant. I'll tell the story very quickly because some of you all may have heard it before. I met him. I was working as a busboy in a restaurant when I was about 16 or 17 years old. And Mr. Greenlee came in, and I recognized him because, of course, we were all reading the book, The Spook, that sat by the door, because that generation of young people read books. And anyway, we didn't just carry them around either. We actually read them in backpacks. But so I saw Mr. Greenlee sitting in the restaurant. Right away, I go to him, oh, you know, are you Sam Greenlee? I just wanted to tell you how much I enjoyed your book, and you know, how much I really relate to one of the characters in your book. And he goes, Pretty Willie. Certainly wasn't because I thought I was pretty, but because it was nice to see a light-skinned, you know, melanin-challenged brother not depicted as the tragic, you know, the tragic mulatto. Oh my God, where do I belong? You know, because I've never been. I just had never been with that. You know, like ever. Ever. So, you know, I always tell people I'm mixed, but I'm not mixed up. But, so Sam was, I mean, he was very, you know, he was very, very nice to me, and he said, well, look here, young brother, if I ever make a movie out of it, I'll look you up. I'm like, yeah, okay. Right. So sometime later, it was another member, another comrade brother that was in the party with me, located me on the street in Hyde Park. I mean, you know, we creatures of habit. He said, I guess Sam approached his brother and said, hey, I'm looking for that light-skinned dude who used to work at Chances Are, and he knew exactly who he was talking about. And remember, there wasn't no cell phones back then. First of all, I didn't have a phone, period, okay? I didn't even have a television. I had an AM radio and a bed, okay? You know, and a few very small creature comforts. So anyway, this brother found me and took me to Sam's house, where his apartment over in Woodlawn, and Ivan Dixon was there, and I read for the read for the part, which was kind of funny because, again, I was not an actor at all. And I came through the door, and I had my little red, black, and green skull cap on, which I have on in the film. That was mine. It was not a prop. And I come through the door, and I recognized Ivan Dixon because I was aware of independent black films like Nothing But a Man with Abby Lincoln and Gloria Foster, and films that Ivan Dixon had made. And I come in, and he gives me the script, and I start reading it, and he stops me. And then he tells me to start reading again. I start reading again, and he stops. He starts laughing. Well, you know, I'm a 19-year-old angry young brother. I'm like, you know, is there something funny? You know, because I didn't come here to amuse you, you know. I mean, he said, brother, you had to depart as soon as you walked through the door. I just want to make sure you could read. I said, yeah, I can read.
We want to open up the panel to some audience members. So here, kind of in the aisle area, there's a couple of microphones. So if you want to just kind of step up here, and we'll get some audience questions. We'll start out with this gentleman right here, sir.
I got a question for each member of the panel. The doctor, sorry.
Jackie Stewart. Yeah.
I heard you mention Django a few times and said that there was no equivalent. I mean, but whenever I heard people mention Django, I always think it was done before, and I'd like you to address. I always looked at Rosewood as Singleton's time to shine, and he just didn't put butts in seats. So here comes Tarantino, and it's like, oh, nobody did it before, but I would compare it to Rosewood, and it just wasn't as good. But I'd like you to address that. But then I want to come to my brother Lou over here and ask you, when you joined the police force, after you had done the Spook Who Sat by the Door, and they knew what your Black Panther ties were, for 26 years, my question for you is, what did you have to go through being that guy from, you know, the Spook Who Sat by the Door on the police force? Did you, in fact, become the spook at that point? And then, for my brother Paymoon, nothing but credit. I love you so much. You're a wonderful brother, and just young brothers like me, you keep inspiring. I don't do film, but you inspire me still. And my last question for Mr. Greenlee, wow, man, when I was running for office, like, you helped me to keep going. Your inspiration that you even still lived in Woodlawn was just a testament to greatness in our community. And integration didn't make everybody great out of our community. So thank you. But my question for you is this. Did the Spook Who Sat by the Door give the government the precipice for, or the note on what the eventual reality would be if they didn't move? And so when we look at black people being moved out of the projects into Harvey, when we look at what has happened, you know, with integration, was the Spook Who Sat by the Door the clue to the government on what they needed to do with us before that movie became reality? So I guess what I'm asking is, was that movie kind of like giving up our secret so that like now our young people don't, in the Spook, what was great is that the young people knew who the enemy was. We don't know who the enemy is now, so we kill each other. So did the CIA in fact take your movie and use it against our community before it could happen? And that's my question for people.
I think that's certainly true. But, and I considered that when I wrote it. But at a time when gangbangers had consciousness. All right? They marched with Dr. King. And he said when they were stoned over there in Market Park, that he had been apprehensive about their ability to remain nonviolent. But they didn't break ranks. I don't regret having written a book and produced a film. We almost did it, okay? But what happened was it was a massive sellout, okay? government threw out a whole lot of crumbs, not to be underestimated, but it didn't go as far as armed revolution. And in response to the brother's question, yes, the movie scared the hell out of them. And I don't believe that they would have given up as many things they did without that movie and the Black Panthers and other activity. White boy said, we can either fight these niggas or buy off the leadership. And they did. But I don't want to minimize the impact of the civil rights movement, in particular, desegregation and the black vote. It's impossible today for an overt white bigot to earn office almost anywhere in this nation. He's got to keep that to himself. And blacks in this country have made enormous progress, okay? I don't have to be one of them, I'm broke. But I contributed to it.
I know the brother had a wide-ranging questions for the whole panel, but in the interest of getting everybody's thoughts here, I'm going to move on to another question. Perhaps afterwards we can spend some time together and get some of your other questions answered. Is that all right?
Oh, I wanted to answer that.
Oh, you'd like, okay, I'm sorry. Mr. Lemieux, go ahead.
Well, see, this is the thing. People need to understand this. First of all, historically, again, resistance did not just start, okay? And historically, we have used every vehicle available to us, those who are so inclined to fight back. The police department, the system will never, ever, ever be our friend. However, let me tell you this. There's something very peculiar about that job because it has more discretionary power than almost any other job you could possibly have. When the police act like pigs, if someone is being a pig, that's who they are and that's who they want to be. If you want to be in the community and serve it and treat people correctly, like they're part of your extended family, which you are, that's what you do. Most of them do not do that, okay? So no, I wasn't being the spook who sat by the door. I was being David Lemieux. Okay? And to some of the younger brothers and sisters that know me in the community, I was being Baba David because I came from the same Nat Turner, Mau Mau, Pan-Africanist, nationalist set that I've always been in. So I didn't have to bite my tongue. I didn't have to kiss no ass. I didn't have to do anything other than be the man that I am doing the job that I was doing, which, by the way, what you do when you're in that car, you make the decision. All 26 years, I never had Daley or Sawyer or Leroy Martin or punk-ass Terry Hillard, or Terry Hillard or anybody else riding around with me telling me what to do, okay? When you see police saying, well, you know, we got to do this. No, you don't, okay? No, you don't. People in other communities like the police because they use their power to keep white children out of the Just Us system. Black officers should be trying to keep black children out of the Just Us system. That's not saying it's okay to rape, rob, and loot. But if you got a 15-year-old with a quarter of a bag of weed in his pocket, you don't take him to jail. You take him to his parents. You don't seize his mama's car, okay? It's all about using whatever vehicle is available to us to fight. When you kill the enemy, you don't say, oh, I'm not going to use his gun. You better use whichever one is available.